All right, what's going on, guys? JD Jackson, the West Wolf Podcast Live. The Los Angeles Lakers just lost a heartbreaker to the Miami Heat. They came back down, I think, 26 at one point, and it came storming back in the fourth quarter off of the backs of Russell Westbrook and LeBron James. Um, Now, just to kind of speak about it a little bit, Russell Westbrook, he had 24 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 turnovers. LeBron James had 33, 11, and 4 with 3 turnovers as well. They were pretty much the lone bright spots in the game. Ariza started, he was 0 of 5, and he led the team with 4 turnovers. I'm not exactly sure how that was possible, but that's what happened. Bradley did, add some offense late that was helpful. But for the most part, it was just a rough start. When you start a starting lineup with Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Dwight Howard, Avery Bradley, and Ariza, there's just not a whole lot that there's not a whole lot that you can do offensively with that unit. Yeah, they may be a little bit better defensively in some areas, but it's just not possible to do a whole lot on offense, especially when Ariza's 0 of 5 from the 3 point line. So um, that if you start in a hole, it's really hard for you to uh, really you have to overcome it. You're trying to overcome this 26-point game um, with the unit that can't score. It's just really hard to do. Russell Westbrook was good tonight. He was efficient. So was LeBron James outside of the 3 point line. There's just not a whole lot you can say about that. I thought Melo played way too many minutes. When I do the official audio podcast, I look more into what Melo played, but I believe he was in for long stretches. He was in too long. The Melo at the 5, it just never works. It never will work. And I just thought he played long. He was a big problem with the defense in this one. Uh, Carmelo Anthony was. He wasn't necessarily on fire, so I didn't understand playing Melo for that long. It just didn't really make any sense to me. Uh, so he gave up a lot of points, and he didn't give us a lot of points. I thought that had a lot to do with it. I thought THT was not good in this one at all. He struggled on defense. He struggled on offense. But largely, I want to talk about Frank Vogel. Look, I know they made a comeback, but the way thanks, thanks, Prime Mindy. I appreciate you joining in. The way that they started the game with that starting lineup it's just I don't know why Monk or Reeves isn't starting. I'll just put it that way. And I know Monk struggled in this game too, but I just don't know why, especially Reeves. It's time to just try it. Uh, I want to talk about Vogel. I won't talk about who played poorly anymore, who played well. You're starting your team off in a hole by using the starting lineup that you're using. And that to me is egregious. And they're always trying to make up for it. I said they're going to let some games versus some bad teams with that starting lineup make them think it's fool's gold like it was good. It's never going to work. That starting lineup versus good teams. It's just not. It was a triumphant comeback. I think Russell Westbrook and LeBron James combined for like 20, 22 points in the fourth quarter. So it was just this great effort. Uh, Bradley, he did pour in a couple of threes that helped, stuff like that. Ariza just looks like a shell of himself right now, but I know he's kind of trying to work his way back, stuff like that. But in my opinion, we really need to look at Frank Vogel. Um, he needs to be fired. I'm not an advocate of people losing their jobs usually, but it's just egregious. I He just has to go. Um, at one point, all three Lakers, there was three Lakers that ran to the ball. The ball got rotated, and three Lakers ran to that rotation, leaving someone cut into the basket wide open, like no one's in the paint at all. And it just made me think, what the hell are the defensive principles? Why did all of them just leave? They all left and went to one person, leaving the paint wide open. That's a lack of principles, in my opinion. That's that oozes. No one knows exactly what it is they're supposed to do. And I thought that was egregious, and it just made me look at the coach. It made me look at coaching. Um, I thought Russell Westbrook sat too long between the third and the fourth quarter. I thought that was a big issue as well. I didn't think the lineups were ideal at all. Today, I didn't think the lineups were ideal around LeBron or Russell Westbrook. So I just don't know. I know it's a personnel. Look, Kendrick Williams out of OKC, that's someone I would go take a look at. I really, really, really would. Now that we know that there's some other people off the board, I would definitely go take a look at him. I think he'd be great for the Los Angeles Lakers. Um, but if LeBron James and Russell Westbrook combine, for 59, almost 60 points, 57, almost 60 points, and they scored 20 points in the fourth quarter alone, there's not a whole lot you can do to win other than you need some contributions from someone else. And I didn't think they had enough contributions from other people. Some of the things that LeBron James and Russell Westbrook did in that game were absolutely incredible. That rebound that Russell Westbrook got that ended up being for nothing. I think THT or someone committed an offensive foul, which was a great play by PJ Tucker. But that's an outstanding rebound. Some of the finishes LeBron James did late in the game were just outstanding, and it just didn't matter. A triumphant effort. Can't wait for Anthony Davis to get back. But that's yeah, David. Me too. I thought that Russell Westbrook played a great game. He made his free throws for the most part. Um, he made his clutch free throws. He went to the basket. He finished well. He was hacked a lot. But he tried to get through it. Yeah, they did crowd LeBron on the inbound. I do agree with that. Now, usually Russell Westbrook does take out the ball. I think, and I understand. I think what Vogel was trying to do is get both of his elite playmakers on the floor rather than taking the ball out to give them more of a dynamic feel, like so they weren't just hounding just LeBron James, which is what you're talking about, Jim. But THT turned the ball over. I mean, he had a timeout. Giving it up the way he did, and it resulting in a 6-point game rather than a 4-point game, it really hurt. When you're down 4, let's say he calls a timeout. Let's say he calls timeout. They have to reset. It's the last timeout, but they get a 2. The youth foul, and you're still only down 4. And all you want to do is hope that they miss one, so you're down 3 one possession. When you throw the ball away and they score again, you're down 6. Even if they miss a free throw, I mean, even if you make a 3 and they make a free throw, you're down 4 still. It was just a colossal mistake. He had a timeout. He should have used it. And so I think on the very next play, they just chose Russell Westbrook to take the ball out because THT just turned it over. He had a rough night. THT was not good. Melo was not good. Ariza was not good. None of them were good. Vogel still asked Melo to play the 5, and I think Melo's putrid on defense, but it is not fair to ask Melo to play the 5. He can never do that in his career. He definitely can't now. Can't wait for AD to get back, but I think Vogel has to go. If I were the front office, I would call Vogel into my office tonight and tell me you have 2 minutes to give me 3 good reasons why I shouldn't fire your ass. That's what I would say. Straight up. You're going to have to give me something. Them lineups, sorry. That starting lineup, sorry. Melo shouldn't be. You're right. Melo should never be playing more than 15, 18 minutes. And that's if he's on fire. Because he's going to give up points on defense. But if he's making up for it on 3-pointers, you can stand it. But if he's not hitting no 3s, I don't think AD can help. Vogel's rotation suck. Yeah, Juice, I think that was your name. Man, he's going to help because he's AD. He's a walking 24 and 10, right? But you're right. I think that AD was just as affected by the lineups and the spacing as Russell Westbrook. It's really odd to Russell Westbrook, right? Because everybody's loud and they want to highlight his mistakes. So everybody, But I think AD, like people really got on Anthony Davis early on. And I've had my gripes about him in particularly the clutch. AD could hide. That's true. That's smooth. True. It could. Just great talent can mask Vogel's inconsistencies as a coach, and that's definitely a possibility. But I think AD struggled with lineups as well. I think it affected him just as much as it does Russell Westbrook. But he's still walking 24 and 10. You know what I mean? So I think he'll help a lot. Wondering why THT was on the floor anyway for that possession. 2 timeouts, put a shooter in real quick, then sub THT back in for defense or something. I don't know. I'll put it this way. I think Frank Vogel thinks that THT is a lot better defender than I do. It's about the best way I can put it. I just that's just what I think. AD just adding more offense, but I doubt he'll stay in the paint. Yeah, he does like the jump shots. But AD likes to shoot jump shots. But I think part of it was the spacing. Is if you have no spacing, it's hard for him to post up and go to the rack. Now I agree. I think he rely. I said the same thing about LeBron the last post game podcast, where he falls in love with the 3-pointer. He just keeps firing it. You're LeBron James. You're 6'9", 250. Go to the rack. I think AD does fall in love with it, but I think part of it is there's no space for him to operate in the post, so he sells for the jumper. Yeah, Monk being in would have definitely helped a lot instead of THT. I don't know. Lakers fans, if there are any Lakers fans, you just tell me. Lakers fans tend to really be high on THT. Look, Russell Westbrook just got to LA. I just think of THT as a lesser version, a much lesser version of Russell Westbrook. So I don't really like him on this team. So that's just Lakers fans and Vogels tend to like THT a lot more than I do. I think he probably has some talent, but it's not for the Los Angeles Lakers. So I put it that way. It's inexcusable from that smooth, inexcusable running brush THT and Stanley Johnson and Ariza some parts of the game. Yeah, Ariza. Look, I'll be the first to admit I was really excited about Ariza because he was historically known as a good defender that can hit threes. He's largely not done either of those well as far as on the ball. Now, off the ball, Ariza still does stuff that matters. He really does. Doesn't show up on a stat sheet, but he does stuff that matters, and that shows that he has a high defensive IQ. But he's just on the ball. He's just not the same. He's not hitting his threes. It's just really hard watching him right now. He's been back 12 or 13 games. He started 5 or 6. So I keep trying to tell myself let's wait and see. But I'm not. I'm with you. I'm not too much a believer in Ariza, THT, Stanley Johnson, AB right now. It's just not good. I just don't know where the shooting comes from, and even in the starting lineup, I just don't know where the shooting comes from, which is my biggest problem with Vogel. You're a defensive coach. I get that, but your defense was putrid, even with them in the game. 3 people making the same rotation just oozes to me no one knows what the hell they're supposed to be doing. So I can't help but look at Vogel. Now, you guys know me. I will hold the players accountable. But they all 3 went to the same rotation at the exact same time. At the exact same time. It's not like there was some confusion. The ball rotated, they all 3 went. And it made me say, Vogel, what the hell are the principles, man? What are we doing here? There were some times Monk was out of control. There were some times, THT I thought was out of control. If you want the play late, Russell Westbrook, I thought Jimmy Butler hip checked Russell Westbrook to the floor and didn't get a call, but I guess you definitely could say Russell slowed down there, and that's fine. That's fair too. But guys, it's Vogel. They need different personnel. Yes, a lack of stretch shooters. I completely agree. They just don't have the spaces. They just don't have the shooters. Go to OKC, get Kenrich Williams. See about that. David and Waba, go see about that. Those type of players that can play deep. They're 2-way players. You need 2-way players. And I was a big fan of Austin Reeves for the most part. He struggled tonight. Now, I still think he should have played over some people. But he struggled tonight. It just seemed like the game was super fast for him. He struggled, and I have to admit that. And I'm a Reeves fan. I definitely do. But hey, the Miami Heat are good. We have a few starting level players on our team. I think that we should start trying to start Reeves, but the way that because he's so young, and I agree, I forgot, I don't know who just said that. That smooth, um, the way he yanks up and down Reeves as playing time, or the way he yanks him after a mistake, he's so young that I think that does affect him. I think we should start him and just try and let him play because Reeves is a two-way player. He can do both. He can he can hit his jumpers, his threes. He can even attack or close out, and he can play defense. The problem is, I know he hit a couple tonight, but no one's hugging Avery Bradley at the three-point line. He's truly someone who's in there for defense. He's a one-way player. Dwight Howard, one-way player. Um, THT, I don't really know what the heck THT is, and I'm not trying to be mean when I say that. I don't know what his purpose is. Ariza right now, he's does some things on defense, but he's kind of one dimensional as well. I mean, let's put it like this: your two leading scorers were Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, right? LeBron first, Russell Westbrook second. Your main creators were LeBron James and Russell Westbrook, right? Your main rebounders were LeBron James and Russell Westbrook, right? Who was LeBron James guarding? Oh, he's guarding Bam. So our star player has to guard Bam. Who was Russell Westbrook guarding? Jimmy Butler. So our other star player has to guard Jimmy Butler. Okay. So our star players, they gotta score the points. They gotta create everybody else's points. They gotta get all the rebounds. They gotta get steals. They gotta take they gotta get all the assists. They gotta guard the other team's two best players. I mean, my gosh, guys. And then the starting lineup, 0 of 5 from Ariza. Dwight basically didn't do anything. Yes, we just have a terrible supporting cast. Exactly. A terrible supporting cast. That's the problem. I watched this game and I said, DJ is not an NBA player. Avery Bradley, despite his couple of threes tonight, he's probably not an NBA player. Ariza, he's probably not an NBA player. That's three. Guys, that's three. That is three players. That's not an NBA player. Melo, he can only play one side. He might as well. He's not a defensive NBA player. Yeah, I just named 4 people that just they either are not an NBA player or they only play one side of the ball. It's just that simple. So it's not all on Vogel. Pelinka and Genie bust. Look, I'm getting sick of hearing this. Caruso is not attached to Russell Westbrook. They didn't want to pay the tax. That's why we don't have Caruso. Okay? Just pay the damn tax. You got Caruso. And then you decided, oh, I'm going to sign DJ when the Nets just didn't want. I mean, they was trying to kick him out the door. They didn't want him. You signed Bazemore. He ain't got no minutes either. Exactly. Caruso is who they should have kept. You don't waste it on some DJ and some Bazemore. When we sitting here, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, they out there by their damn self trying to score all the points, get all the assists, get all the rebounds, lead the team in steals, take care of the basketball. I mean, get all the clutch rebounds, make all the clutch free throws, score 20 in a quarter. My gosh. They got to guard the other team's best player too? They were guarding all night Jimmy Butler and Bam. All night long. All night long. And you guys wonder why I say they're exhausted? It's because they're exhausted. Both of them. Especially Russ. He ain't missed a game this season. I'm look, we got the Nets next on Tuesday, the Brooklyn Nets. Anybody else got any questions or something like that? Feel free real quick. Answer them or converse with you. But I think I'm gonna call it there for tonight for the post game podcast, the Westwood Podcast. If you have not hit that subscribe button, please do. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, but I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much. I'll give you guys about another 30 seconds if you have a question, but I'm going to call it for tonight. I appreciate you guys. See you guys Tuesday versus the Brooklyn Nets, and we'll see if Frank Vogel is still the head coach. Do I think they're going to win versus the Nets? I think Here's the thing: is that I think the Lakers, as long as Russell Westbrook is truly out of his slump, which it seems like he's put together a couple of games here, I think especially with AD, he may be back. I think that 360 can beat anyone because they're 360. Um, it just all depends on the rest of this cast that we have. And I know I named like 3 or 4 people that are probably not even NBA players, but it just depends on if someone, anyone, shows up. That's why Monk is so important. When he struggles, or it's just really hard for the Lakers to do anything because it's right now was 80 hurt. It's Russ, LeBron, or bust unless Monk shows up or unless Melo's on fire. But I think 360 can beat anyone, and that's just the truth. Just depends on supporting cast. Gotta go out there. We gotta get people that surround him. Yeah, he's been struggling. Monk's definitely been struggling, and that's what's really made it hard. No one wants to talk about that. That's what's made it hard is that we don't have that other player that's not the stars that's contributing, um, and so it hurts. But any other questions? That's a good question, man. Thanks for the question. But hopefully they can get past the Nets. That'll help a lot. All right, so it looks like we're done here. So look, hey, I appreciate you guys so much. Again, hit the subscribe button if you have not. The West Wolf podcast. Try to go live after the all the live games. Try to go live right after because I watch all 82 games. I got the league pass stuff like that. So please hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you, and as always, until next time, peace.